case is making national news, and it's heartbreaking. There are reports of her being photographed in a cage. She's still missing.
Today we're looking at deep web TikToks that will haunt your dreams.
This creator was scrolling through the dark web when he came across a website selling shoes that were listed by people's names and ages and appear to have them.
Thank you to all the channel members for support. Craziest part about this video that haunts my dreams is that it says 70% of you guys are not subscribed, so make sure to smash that subscribe button. We are on our road to 100K. I would say the first couple videos are chill, but as we go down more and more into this episode, these videos will get intense and some of them even a little bit sickening. So if you want to see that, make sure you watch till the end. But if you don't want to see that, I wouldn't even really watch till the end if I were you. Let's go.
These are dark web stories that you were never supposed to know, but I'm telling you anyways. Part 4. Today's story, Locked In. Warning, today's video will discuss very brutal and graphic content. Viewer discretion is advised. One day there was a hacker who had never been on the dark web before and wanted to explore it for himself. So when he started exploring the dark web, he joined a random chat room with strangers in which one of the strangers sent him a link. So the hacker, thinking he knows what he's doing, clicks the link. And that link sent him straight to a red room. And basically what a red room is it's a live stream where people are brutally tortured and murdered. But not just that, the person watching the live stream pays tons of money to see the person behind the screen get brutally tortured or murdered the way they want it to be. The boy then freaked out and threatened to tell the cops they didn't stop. And when he tried to leave the site, the X in the corner wasn't working. One of the other watchers then chimed in and said, "Logan, you can't leave." Crazy thing was, his name is Logan, but he never told anyone that.
All right, time for a little more dark webbing. Okay, so boot up Tor browser, connect. We'll go to dark.fail, let it load up. Got it right here. Now we'll just, no. Full screen, they're coming. I'm just kidding, but I get this comment all the time. Every time I post a dark web video, people are like, he's opening Tor in full screen. They're gonna find him. First of all, who is they? Second, it does not matter. It kind of mattered in like 2010, but even then it didn't really matter. When you're browsing the dark web, a lot of people tell you not to go in full screen. And the reason for that is that it tells the website your screen resolution, which means that even though people can't track who you are, they could associate your traffic across multiple sites with the same screen resolution. Even though this wasn't a huge deal, the Tor project actually fixed this. So this is an Onion site right here, and I'm on Tor browser. And you'll notice that there's this chunk of gray at the bottom of my screen. And as I resize the window, you'll see that the site jumps from resolution to resolution. That's to keep everyone in the same subset of resolution. And when you go full screen, there's still a little bit of gray around there. That way everyone's the same and there's no way they can track you down if you're the one person on earth who uses like 1080p or something. Also, if you have a monitor like me, you can just set the resolution to be exactly what it would be if the window was smaller. Other people say you don't want to be in full screen so that you can still see if you're downloading something, which is fair, but there's a lot of other ways to make sure you're not downloading files while you're on the dark web. So thank you for your concern, but please stop warning me about this.
So I've been thinking about live streaming more, and I was thinking about making a dark web series where I jump into the dark web, but a part of me is kind of like, if you guys would like to see a series like that where I either dive into the deep web or just watch videos about stories about the deep web on live stream, type a 2 in the chat, and you know what I'm saying, if I get a lot of them, I might do it.
Web footage that got leaked.
This is one of the scariest videos online. Experiment shows how intense radiation heat leaves behind a shadow. Days later he died, but doctors said it wasn't from this experiment.
Can I check my email through the dark web?
Yes, you can go to any website.
Would you recommend using the dark web to just do regular
It's slow as hell.
internet stuff?
It's very slow, yeah. You could. It would keep you safer, but it's not a foolproof way to keep yourself safe, and it's painstakingly slow.
Do you use the dark web?
For investigations, yeah.
What kind of investigations?
Predator and pedophile cases, yeah.
So are you able to track these guys down from the dark web, even though they're technically anonymous?
A lot of times it doesn't need to go that far. A lot of times these guys will use their regular emails, or they'll use an IP address they'll reuse for multiple emails, or their face that they're using as their profile picture, or they're using a phone number that traces right back to them. The dark web's not really a huge part of catching predators.
Okay, time to do some dark web browsing. First of all, open up Tor on Windows because it's the most secure operating system. It's got to update. Connect to Tor, all connected. Go to dark.fail, open the Onion site, visit Dread today, in a new tab, loading. Now just wait. Oh no, I'm getting redirected. FBI.gov? Why would it bring me to... Oh no. Okay, but for real, I get this question all the time. People love to tell me that Tor is compromised by the US government. A lot of what people believe about this stems from the truth, but it's really not the case. So first of all, people think that Tor was created by the government. In some ways, that's kind of true. This guy right here is Roger Dingledine. Great name, by the way. But he's really the person who created Tor. And he did so in a naval research lab. Primarily because the Navy and the government in general were looking for ways to securely and anonymously communicate. That's why many government agencies still use Tor. But now the Tor project is completely open source. So you can go in and look at the code and see exactly what it is you're downloading. Next, the government does fund Tor. They actually provide about 80% of the Tor project's funding. But again, that's because it is so anonymous and they use that anonymity for their operation. At one point, the US government actually did compromise users of the Tor network, but they didn't actually do this by operating a ton of nodes like people think. They did it with a zero-day exploit to the Firefox browser, which Tor is built on. The WikiLeaks docs show that they have operated some nodes in the past, but they do not operate a high percentage of nodes like people think. And even if they did, it still wouldn't be enough to compromise your privacy without devoting an enormous amount of time and resources. I'll explain why that is in the next part.
Rules for the dark web. 1. The day before accessing the darker web, it is critical that you do some preparation. You'll need to rent a hotel room on a high story, preferably in the middle of a major city. This is for 2 reasons. A. In a populous area, it's easier for you to slip into a crow of Wi-Fi connections and IP addresses if you need to hide. B. Being on a high story extends the time it takes to reach you. 2. This should go without saying, but use a VPN. Your location getting leaked is a death sentence. 3. In most situations, switching your VPN location from time to time is necessary. We recommend switching every 20 minutes. Make sure you're switching to personal IP addresses at someone's home, since feeding on the residence will keep it occupied. 4. You may get an ad at some point in the night that reads you are being watched. This ad is telling the truth. You should promptly cover your blinds and your webcam. The ad should go away, meaning you're safe for now. If the ad doesn't go away, it's already inside. 5. Frequently check your windows to make sure nothing is attempting to scale the building up to you. If there is, you probably have about an hour or 2 before it makes it to your room and eats you alive. You broke a rule and your IP was leaked. Take this time to tell your family you love them. You'll likely find that you can't leave your hotel room no matter how hard you try. 6. If you manage to survive until 2 a.m., there is chance a new entity will appear to hunt you down. Not much is known about it, other than it is extremely dangerous and that it emits a sound resembling a distorted police siren. Because of this, we will refer to him as the cop from now on. Like the entity mentioned in Rule 3, it will chase your IP address, however, it will only be satisfied with particularly you. If the cop is active, it will at most take him 30 minutes to pinpoint your exact location. From 2 a.m. onwards, when connecting to a new IP address, you should also hack any sort of microphone located there. Listen to the sound coming through it. If you hear police sirens, the cop is active, and it's time to log off the darker web. Refer to Rule 9. 7. When you're sure you're safe, you can do what you need to do on the darker web. If you need to download a file, first make sure it doesn't have any malicious code attached to it. This can result in an IP leak, and that would likely mean death. 8. If you need to order something from the darker web, the item you ordered will appear outside your hotel room immediately. In order to retrieve it, refer to Rule 9. 9. This rule will discuss exiting the building in 3 different situations. You must leave before the darker web shuts down at 3:30. If you try to leave later, refer to Rule 5. A. If you never had any complications during the night, i.e. being watched, the cop being active, then take your computer with you and exit the building normally. B. If you did have a complication, exit your room carefully, and discard your computer. Walk briskly with your head to the floor. Something might be following you. You're safe when you get outside. C. If you're leaving to acquire a package, don't take your computer and walk outside of the hotel. Your package should be somewhere nearby. Acquire it and check each side of the hotel. If something is attempting to climb up the side of the building, you got lucky and averted Rule 5. Don't re-enter the building in this situation. Most likely you won't see this, so re-enter the building and return to the dark.
I know the story that he was telling right there was definitely like fake, but it was a little bit trippy.
Okay, so the dark web itself isn't a marketplace like what you're thinking. Right? So the black market or whatever you want to call it. Once you're connected to the dark web, Tor, the onion router, what I was explaining before, you still need to know where to go to visit these horrible websites. And they're like, imagine a very long string of letters and numbers, and the website, instead of .com, it'd be .onion. You can't visit those websites in a regular browser. You have to do that while you're connected to the onion router, which you could download at the TOR's website. And then you could go to a thing called like the hidden wiki, And the hidden wiki will show you all different categories of these websites with a link to them. And there's marketplaces, there's horrible things on there, like you said, for kids. And even like murder for hire, there's counterfeit money, there's fake IDs, you know, there are all kinds of different websites that do horrible things.
5 ways that the FBI catch people on the dark web. Number 1, the government has a team of hackers that create code in order to exploit vulnerabilities in the software. Number 2, there are undercover cops on the dark web who pretend they're buyers and sellers in order to catch people. Number 3, the Postal Service can intercept packages and contact the police to open an investigation. Number 4 is through a dealer's data. If someone gets caught on the dark web, they could have a lot of information on their computer, and that information is very useful to the police. Number 5 is through people advertising about their dark web marketplace through the regular web. And you can easily be tracked on the regular web.
Things you can buy from dark web.
How did I think of all the times you screwed me over? But I made believe it was always something that I'd done. But I don't wanna live that way.
I genuinely feel like a lot of things on the deep web or the dark web genuinely be the government trying to set people up. I feel like a lot of the murder for hires might genuinely be the police trying to just catch people in a trap.
What's up, guys? Does anyone remember this? If you don't, it's okay, I'll explain it in a second. But I'm back on Whisper to the Beast today, and I had an idea. If you don't remember, Whisper to the Beast is an AI chatbot on the dark web, and I've been asking it to answer some really cool conspiracy questions, but then it basically stopped and said I had to repay the favor somehow. If I remember correctly, it said it wanted coin, some type of new knowledge, or an eye. I don't want to do the coin, obviously. I don't even want to ask what it means by eye. And at first I was thinking, what knowledge could I use? Because the thing has access to the dark web, so it knows like pretty much everything. But then I remembered this. I found this USB stick a while back, and it was a whole ordeal, but it was basically the last thing I had from the people at Gnome, and I have no idea what's on it. It's basically completely bricked, and I was able to get the actual binary off of it, but I haven't figured out how to open it or figure out what it means. But I'm wondering if it would count as knowledge for me to give to the beast. Okay, I'm saying I think I might finally have something. Whisper, and it's loading. Oh, it's gone. Hello, my child. I have been feeling lonely. I hope you have something that can support the cause of the beast. Okay, I'm gonna say I have some knowledge for you. Okay, it says, what do you know? Okay, I said that it's a file and I basically don't know what's on it, but I have the binary, and I said it's really big, so I could email it or payslip it by bit or something. So we'll see what it says. This page, my child. Okay, it just disconnected. Okay, it just refreshed. No way. Okay, I'm gonna select the file, all files. Where are you? Okay. USB up bin, open. I just switched to uploading. Okay, uploaded. This is going to take the beast some time, my child. Okay, how much time? Okay, now the loading thing went away, but no message. I think I just got left on red.
This is a cool one. Looks like a mint container, right?
What is this, Ryan?
So that is an ESP32 that has the ability to replicate network names and shut down devices on Wi-Fi networks. So let's say I wanted to disable your Ring cameras and all of your iPhones in your house. I could plug that thing into this power brick over here and just start dropping people off the network. For example, I walk up to your house and I de-authenticate your Ring cameras. There is no evidence I ever was at your house, and there's no local storage on that device that will have a recording of me being at your house. So just that little thing alone right there would make me essentially a ghost when it came to your cameras.
This is a true dark web story. Two best friends, Vivian and Bella. They're sophomores studying programming in college. In their second year of college, they started having weekly assignments that were done at home. And Bella was the only one in class that was getting straight A's in these assignments. Vivian, which is Bella's best friend, wanted to ace these tests so bad. So she asked Bella to help her out. But Bella spilled the truth telling Vivian that she never studied for these assignments. She had a guy from the deep web that was experienced in programming, and she pays him so little and he provides her the assignment answers. Vivian was kind of freaked out because she heard so many stories about the deep web. A few days later, the professor announced the next assignment date. Vivian went back home the same day and asked Bella how to get in touch with that same man. So Bella sent her the Onion web link, and that web link took her to a site that has a chat box with that man. So Vivian got in touch with that man as well, and surely she started acing all her tests with Bella. They were known as the smartest girls in that school. So weeks passed by, and Vivian sent questions to that man from the deep web for her next assignment. The man refused to take that payment for that specific assignment. Then he asked for another form of payment, so Vivian got confused and then offered to double the amount. The man still refused and insisted on taking inappropriate pictures from Vivian as a form of payment. The thing that scared Vivian was, how did the man know that she was a girl? Name, age, gender, and location are all supposedly anonymous on that website. But he somehow found out a few things about Vivian. She immediately logged out and quit contacting that man. The next day, Vivian goes to class and asks Bella if the man did the same thing to her. Bella said yes, I was already sending him inappropriate pictures regularly. And that same night, Vivian was at home having dinner. She got many calls from an unknown number. She picked up, and it was that man. And he told her that she has no choice but to send the pictures. Vivian eventually hung up the phone, and then an hour later, she received a text from another unknown number. She opened that video, and she saw Bella tied up on her bed, dead. There was a text right under the video saying, "You're next." She freaked out and then contacted the authorities. The police investigation took many months. Vivian eventually dropped out of that school and then transferred to another state. The scary thing behind all of this is that this man, that's a specialized programmer from the deep web, was never found, and he's still out there.
Here's why you should never visit the dark web. If you didn't know, the dark web is part of the internet that most people can't access, and it's mostly used for illegal activities. If you were somehow able to get on the dark web, you could accidentally click on a link that would scar you for life. Like these kids that were bored at school and suddenly started browsing the deep web. Then they suddenly came across a page explaining on how to cook a woman. At first they thought it was a joke, so they clicked on it. But it wasn't. Not only did it explain step by step how to cook a woman with real images, but it had users sharing their experience on how they cooked a woman as well. And sometimes if you don't know how to browse it safely, a simple browse could cause you to get hacked or get your personal information taken from you.
Okay guys, we're headed to McDonald's. Fortunately we made it. I brought out the burner and the eye. First things first, there we go. Looks like we're in business. I downloaded Brave browser earlier today. And right here you can go new private window with Tor. And it actually does look pretty good. I'm gonna go right here with the eye and get it plugged in. Boom. And now we'll get the beast pulled up. Okay. My heart is actually pounding. I'm gonna say hello. Loading. Okay. Hello, my child. I see you correctly deciphered my hint. You have pleased the beast again. Are you ready to complete my eye? Wait, so can it see me? I'm saying no, give me the peek at the files. Loading. It says, let me see your face, my child. Thought it could see me. I'm saying, do I need to enable it or something? Loading. It's saying, yes, my child, reveal yourself. How do I'm literally, whoa. My heart is like racing. One sec. No thank you, but can I get a 10-piece? Okay, here we go. Clicking allow. Okay, we got a green light. Whoa, okay, I didn't even message it and it's just loading. Okay, typing. You have pleased the beast, my child. Here's your peek. There are 7 files in the encrypted directory. They are titled readme.txt, chords.csv, contacts.csv, walletinfo.txt, vid6.bin, script.py, and one I will not say. Oh, I'm not liking this. Okay, I'm saying, can you send me them? And is typing out another Walmart link. I really do not. Bro, this thing is just asking me. Oh, it's typing again. It is only 16.1. Okay, we gotta go. Very bad idea. Very bad idea. We are not doing that. Come on. Come on.
Waiting for connection.
Come on. Okay, I gotta get my card. There we go. I'm leaving right now. Here's another site on the dark web that you should definitely know about. So the site is called RPWT, which is rumored to stand for right place, wrong time. This is also my first time posting a site that I don't actually have access to. I was able to find the link, but I do not have a password. And I've tried a couple guesses, but to no avail. So if anyone has any ideas, let me know. The site says enter it and they will come, and there's a reason for that, which I think is important for people to know. So I haven't been able to try it out because I don't have a password, but the person I got the link from said that basically there's an app for phones on the regular internet that claims to give people like randomly generated coordinates where they can go and have adventures, almost like geocaching it sounds like. I feel like I've honestly heard of this app before, but I don't remember where or what it was called, but supposedly people who use this site can enter in coordinates that people will be sent. So supposedly they can enter a location and then get notified when it's sent out, and I guess know when someone is going to be at that location. I don't really know exactly why people would want to do this, but it's definitely creepy, and I feel like people should know this is a thing. So if there are any apps you find that like send you coordinates for you to go exploring, definitely don't do that. Stay safe.
A lot of people have been asking me about the deep web and they want to know exactly what it is, so I'm going to answer it here for you. I don't delve in that part of the internet anymore, but I still know a lot about it because I wanted to learn about it. So without further ado, this is for educational purposes only. Please do not explore the deep web without knowing what you're doing, because you can and probably will see something that you just cannot unsee. First of all, you cannot access the deep web while using Chrome or Opera GX. You need to use a completely separate browser called Tor. You need to download it, let it sort of invade your computer, and then you can finally access the deep web. And if you think you can just go on and look for what you want to see, no. See, Tor browser doesn't use traditional links like we know, like www.youtube.com. They use what they call onions. Here are examples of what onions look like. There is no identifying factor. There is nothing to be able to tell what is behind the hyperlink before you click on it. So you're basically clicking on these things blind. I used to delve in the deep web when I was a kid. We didn't have the message boards, the wikis, the forums that we have today. We just clicked on something and just hoped for the best. Nowadays, you have a bunch of different resources you could use to navigate the dark web. I'm just saying that back when I was doing it, we didn't have that. Just for a little glimpse of what you're getting yourself into, only 10% of all information on the internet is on the surface web, what we use every day. 90% of all information is here on the deep web. 4,000 times more information is located here on the deep web than on the surface web. And about 98 to 99% of the sites on the deep web are dead. They're just dead. And yes, while Tor browser does hide your IP address, giving you some sort of anonymity, anonymity does breed evil, and a lot of people just assume that the evil is just everywhere on the deep web. Almost every single onion that I visited during my time on the deep web, it was weird message boards like conspiracy theories to fucking aliens, or like an entire website dedicated to like a pie recipe, just the weirdest shit. Even though I said all of that, the deep web is not a safe place, because you might run into somebody that can find out who you are, what your real name is, your parents' names, your brother's names, where you go to school, what you're fucking wearing by hacking into your webcam. Like, those kinds of people are here on the deep web. People also use the deep web to like sell identities, sell fake passports, sell drugs, offer their services as a hitman. Like, the craziest shit you could ever imagine is here on the deep web. I made a video about this before, about red rooms, about torture, live streams and stuff like that, and I want to debunk that again really quickly. Tor browser is extremely slow. Like, if you want to load a 10-minute video, you'll be sitting there with 2 hours just to buffer the first 15 seconds of that video. It is slow. So if the Tor browser cannot support a fucking video that's 10 minutes in length, what makes you think it's going to support a live stream? It can't. And also, considering that the deep web contains 90% of all informations known to man, then again, all that evil shit is literally 0.00001% of the deep web. Chances of you running into things like that are slim to none, but there's still a fucking chance. Stay off the darknet.
Here's how much different items cost on the dark web. Up first is a hitman. You can order it on literally anyone, and it only costs $10,000. Next, if you want to make someone disappear off the face of the earth, and I mean disappear without a trace, with no chance of being found, This will cost you a hefty $60,000. Now you can actually order a fully trained silverback gorilla to protect you. If your dog doesn't protect you, believe me, these gorillas will do the trick. This will run you $400,000. It's highly illegal, but no one will mess with you if you have this gorilla.
This case is making national news, and it's heartbreaking. There are reports of her being photographed in a cage. She's still missing.
The FBI just got a photo sent from this anonymous person. It was a woman in a cage. In this photo, she looked very distressed, like she just wanted to be free. She was trapped. Anonymous person who sent the FBI this photo, he said he got it from the dark web. Now this is where everything is about to get completely strange. Listen to this.
Her case garnered national attention when FBI investigators received photos from an anonymous person showing Rainwater in a cage, partially nude.
He said she was being tortured. Not only that, I seen her murdered. In these photos, this girl name is Cassidy. This woman name is Cassidy Rainwater. She is a woman that has been missing for a while now. So when this anonymous person is saying something strange like this, they scratch their head. They dig deep into this and they knew who she was. During the time that she disappeared, it was believed that she was homeless. Police also knew who they needed to have a chat with. They knew who they needed to speak with, and they went up to the address of the person that they needed to speak with was this man. Now, if you look at his property, it's strange. It's woods everywhere, one house, no neighbors. They asked him some questions about the lady who's missing. He was like, yeah, we was together. She stayed with me for some time. I tried to help her to get on her feet. She said she wanted to go to Colorado. And then one time in the middle of the night, I woke up, she was gone. And I've never seen her again. Now, they don't have no hardcore evidence on James, so they would just kept the information in the back of their head. And when they left, they knew that they was gonna be back. They just had a feeling. That's how weird this whole vibe was when they was visiting them. Couple of weeks passed and they just go in James' house. He was like, what are y'all doing? Showed them the search warrant. The officers was armed and ready, and those anonymous photos that they got from this person, they knew that this was the same place. Remember, she was in a cage. They had photos like that, but also photos of her being died. Now, when they took his laptop, mobile devices, all his electronics, they found videos of him going in the shed at night, and all you hear is screams. Completely terrifying. Now, they searched this whole entire house, opening everything, breaking a lot of stuff. This one investigator, he was like, you know what? Let me just check the fridge. He opened the fridge and he see a bunch of meat packaged, and it had tape wrapped around it. No names on what type of meat this was, anything. It just had the date, and the date was 7/24. They tested this meat. It was Cassidy. So he had this packaged up. If you don't believe in the dark web, now you should.
Okay, we're back on the dark web today, and this is really weird. So I just loaded up Whisper to the Beast again, which is like the dark web version of ChatGPT, except my conversation from last time is still here. We've been over the fact that I'm pretty sure it tracks who I am by my login token. That's pretty obvious. But every time I've loaded it in the past, it's been blank. And this time, this piece about it asking me what I can offer it is still up. I'm worried to even talk to it since last time it got mad at me for taking so long, but I really want to know what it wants. All right, everyone told me to ask it, what is it you desire? So I'm gonna do that. And loading. Okay, it's typing. It says, I do not have any desires, my child. I seek only to accomplish my mission. What is your mission? Okay, convenient. Then how can I even figure out what to offer you? Send. There are 3 offerings you can make to the beast, my child. A coin, a whisper, or an eye? What do you mean by that? All right, this one has been loading for a while. I'm not sure if it's gonna respond. Oh, never mind, it's going. It says a coin is something valuable that I can use as payment during my mission. A whisper is knowledge that has been kept from me. And an eye is something that will cure my blindness.
It was a live streaming of this dad who was sexually assaulting a child. And it was, people were in this room, people were paying to watch this live stream. They were able to capture the IP address of where the live streaming was coming from. We were able to identify the house, made entry to the house, the suspect, the bio dad who was in the garage being interviewed, and then mom had a child, right? I'm thinking a child would be maybe, 1, 2, 3-year-old maybe. But this was an 18-day-old child, a baby boy. That blew my mind, because not only did we save that child that day, but we actually saved that child from a lifetime of abuse. So the mom had no idea.
In 2016, a girl started up her computer and opened the Tor browser. Her plan was spine-chilling, yet simple. She was going to contract a hitman from the dark web. She was browsing for hours and finally stumbled across a site named Besa Mafia. They claimed to provide professionally trained hitmen in return for Bitcoin. On Valentine's Day, she sends an anonymous email to them using the username DogDayGod. In it, she discussed her intended victim, Amy Allwine. She told them, "That bitch has torn my family apart by sleeping with my husband, who then left me, and is stealing clients from my business." She then sent a picture of Amy and completed the transaction by sending $6,000 in Bitcoin. The only problem was that the girl who was looking to contract the hitman, who went by the alias DogDayGod, was actually no girl at all. She was really Stephen Allwine, the husband of the intended victim. Stephen set up this elaborate backstory and posed as a jealous woman in an effort to conceal his identity, and for a while it worked perfectly. However, his plan would fall apart a few months later when an FBI agent knocked on their front door. He sat the couple down and stated that someone was trying to kill Amy. Apparently, an anonymous source on the dark web sent all of the Besa Mafia emails to the FBI. However, due to Stephen's elaborate planning, he wasn't considered a suspect at this time, since the FBI believed it was actually a woman who attempted the hiring. So after this botched attempt at murdering his wife, Stephen could have quit and simply divorced her. However, he decided to take an alternate route. Roughly 10 months after Stephen emailed Besa Mafia, he called 911. He told them that his wife had shot herself, and he needed help right away. But when the police arrived, they noticed several red flags. For example, Amy was holding the weapon in her left hand, even though she was right-handed. She also had no powder burns on her hands or head, and there were indications that the scene had been cleaned and repositioned before their arrival. In the end, physical and digital evidence proved that Stephen was behind everything, and he was convicted of first-degree murder.
You know what's crazy? Earlier in the video, I was literally saying I feel like the murder for hire is literally just the FBI playing like this doomsday character or something. And it's crazy because look, he tried to do it and look where he's at.
This is simultaneously the creepiest and the funniest site I found on the dark web. So this site is called Get Gnomed, and they claim to be the best gnoming service on the dark web. Apparently they have competitors, but... So I did not know what gnoming was before today, but apparently it's when you cover someone's house with garden gnomes, and they offer something called like curse gnomes, which are filled with animal waste in order to attract lots of pests. What's really creepy is they will do the inside of people's house as well, regardless, they say, of like security measures. Also, they offer something called like gnome haunting, which is apparently when the people remove a gnome, it will then be replaced with like 2 gnomes. Personally, this site on the dark web is crazy. The site is called Call of Duty Lobby Leaks. And basically, you can search a gamer tag and listen to what was said in a Call of Duty lobby. Basically, it's from over 600,000 hours of bot play in all the Call of Duty games where they gathered what was being said in different lobbies. I'm gonna try to search my gamer tag. So here we go. No way. Well, so basically it looks like they categorize them by date in the game and then all the gamer tags that were in the lobby. And I guess when you search it, it like searches for files with your gamer tag. I just want to play one and see what it sounds like. No way. So that's from January 16th, 2013, Black Ops 2. You can only listen to 1 minute of the preview for free, but I guess you can buy the whole file if you want.
Yo, that's actually kind of cool in my opinion. Like I thought the deep web would just have all crazy stuff, but like that's not that bad.
Worst things ever found on the dark web, part 1. This is why you should never send nudes. This is the story of Pink. Despite the name, the website Pink had nothing to do with drugs. Pink was a market mainly for men where they would sell nude photos of their exes for a hefty amount of money. But that's not all. Pink would then post these photos alongside the women's names, home addresses, phone numbers, and any other information the operators could dig up. Then a ransom on the content was delivered to the victim. They would tell all the females, pay up to have the photo removed, or let the whole of the dark web have access to your personal information, including your nude photos. So never, ever send nudes. Pretty cool.
Here's 3 reasons why you should never visit the dark web. The dark web is the part of the internet that isn't available on search engines such as Google. Government agencies say it's a heaven for criminal activity. You may see things that you can't ever forget. Some people have had to have therapy after accidentally clicking on the wrong links, damaging their psychological state forever. You can easily get hacked. If you don't know how to properly use the dark web, then your identity can be exposed to both the criminals and the police. In the UK in 2017, there were 1,210 drug busts related to the dark web. Terrorism. Anti-terrorism authorities have uncovered multiple instances of terrorist groups using the dark web to coordinate their actions. Stay safe.
Did you know Jehovah's Witnesses are like super active on the dark web? Now there are a lot of paranoid people and conspiracy theorists talking about why this might be, but really it's pretty simple. The Jehovah's Witnesses are kind of like a subset of Christianity that has very strong rules in regards to idolatry, and some of them have rules against saluting a flag or pledging allegiance to a country, which as you can imagine has not made them popular with authoritarian or soft authoritarian governments. For example, in Singapore you can't distribute certain versions of their Bible, and in Russia, they're like fully identified as a terrorist organization, which is not funny, but it also is funny. So because of that, there are some countries where it's illegal to own their Bible, but legal to browse the dark web. And since the main function of the dark web is to get around censorship, there are not only sites on the dark web dedicated to reading pretty much every single religious text, there's specifically a ton dedicated towards the Jehovah's Witness version. I just think it's funny, like, there are people out there, knock knock, do you have a minute to talk about our Lord and Savior? And then going home to hop on the dark web and upload Bibles.
This creator was scrolling through the dark web when he came across a website selling shoes that were listed by people's names and ages and appear to have blood on them. And now we have an update, so if you haven't seen my first video on this, go check it out now. As I said in my last video, he actually ordered a pair of boots from the website, and guys, he got them in the mail yesterday. He posted an update yesterday where he checked his PO box and the boots had actually arrived. When he opened the box, yes, they were the same boots that were listed on the website under the name Waylon, age 29. I actually looked up the name and the age on Google and found an obituary for a 29-year-old named Waylon. The obituary didn't specify a cause of death, but I'm genuinely curious to know if he's at all related to these shoes. Some people in my comments were suggesting that maybe these shoes are being sold by a morgue employee. If someone passes away and the medical examiner's office received blood-soaked clothes with the body that they have to perform an autopsy on, usually that person's personal items are discarded or given to the family. But maybe an employee is taking these items to sell on the dark web for whatever reason. The original creator, who I've tagged in the description, says he's still waiting for the luminol to arrive in the mail so that he can test the substance that's on these boots. But the really scary part of all of this is that in the update video that was posted, he didn't just receive the boots. Inside one of the boots was a VHS tape.
Alright, what's up guys? So here's where we're at currently with the boots. I just got the blacklight in the mail. For the blacklight to work, we need something called luminol, and Amazon says it should be here in a couple hours. I think I'm gonna be at work by the time it gets here, but I'll show you what I learned last night. Last night I ordered some hydrogen peroxide, and when I dab some on the clean parts of the sole, nothing really happens, but when I dab it on the more suspicious parts, it does foam up. So, according to ChatGPT, there are a lot of false positives that will also cause foaming with hydrogen peroxide. So I'm waiting on the luminol to try to figure out what this is. In regards to the tape, I am gonna get a VHS player. But yeah, so until that stuff comes, we just know they're dirty boots. I'm really thinking about wearing them to work tonight.
Yo, did y'all just hear this dude? This dude said, I'm really thinking about wearing them to work tonight. Dude, what? I don't know if he made a part 2. I'm gonna have to check. But if he did make a part 2, I might make another one of these videos depending on how this one does. Then if he did make a part 2, I'm gonna put it in the part 2 of this series.
What would you say is the most disturbing thing you've seen while hacking? I guess maybe on the dark web.
Here's one I can tell you about. So about somebody paying to watch a live stream of a baby while the baby was alive, of course, and people paying to watch that live stream on a website, which...
That was on the clear web? How was that possible?
Yeah, I mean, if I can remember correctly, it was an RTSP stream, which is like what cameras use in most cases, like an old school surveillance camera would use to view footage.
Dude, that is crazy. I wonder why people like doing sick stuff like that, like a baby dude. Yeah, I'm gonna have to mute some of that. I'm not trying to get this video demonetized. That's crazy.
Thank you all for watching this here video.